Hello and welcome to this Nginx caching exercise video. My name is Michał Czaszkiewicz. I am a full-stack developer and consultant, and if you wish to know a little bit more about me, please visit my homepage. Today's example is very basic and it can be illustrated with the following diagram. The user does the request to our application, which is proxied by Nginx, who will additionally cache our content. I'm using a tool called Docker, which can create container environments. So if you don't know this yet, then go to docker.com and read more about this awesome technology. Our environment will be a Docker container, which consists of an Nginx process listening on port 80, and a Sinatra on Ruby application which listens on port 4567. And additionally, the port 80 inside of Docker is mapped to port 8080 of our host. To start, we need to clone the GitHub repository. The link is available in the video description. The project's directory looks like this. And it contains the application file. Then in the bin directory we have some helper scripts. In the conf directory we have the Nginx and supervisor-d configuration files and the Docker file. Let's begin with analyzing the Docker file. Starting from the top, you can see that we are extending the Nginx container. We are updating the system, then installing the application environment, which is based on Ruby. Then we create a directory where Nginx can store its cached files. With this line, we are installing supervisor-d, a software which allows us to run two processes in parallel in the Docker container. And at the bottom, we are copying configuration files. One for Nginx and the second for supervisor-d. We need also our application file inside the Docker container. And with the last line, we tell Docker to start supervisor-d as our main process. Now let's take a quick look at our Nginx configuration file. It's pretty straightforward, and the most important lines are the cache definition, and this line which enables caching. As you can see, this line is commented out. This is due to the fact that I will show you first how our setup works without caching, and then I will enable it and we will analyze the effects. Next, let us see the application code. It is written in Ruby and is based on the Sinatra framework. It is very simple because it returns just text with the current date and time. It also returns the URI which was requested. You can build a Docker environment with a helper script from the bin directory. As you can see, in my case, it ran very quickly. This is because Docker already cached those steps. It might take a little bit more on your machine, so feel free to pause this video and I will wait for you. Then start the container with a helper script from the bin directory. We will use this command to confirm that the container was started. Now if I curl the port 8080 exposed by the container, we will see an example response. If I change the path, you can see that it was also changed in the server response. The return date is also correct. You can check this by getting the system date. In my case, there is 1 hour difference, probably because the container is in another time zone. But when I execute this command on the container itself, we should see that it is correct. See, the same as in the response. Once we have this, we can enable the cache simply by removing the hash in front of the line inside of our Nginx configuration. I will do that with the set command. We can confirm this change with git, which tells us that the proper line was uncommented. After this change, we need to rebuild and restart our container. This can be done with commands we already used. Now let us request the server one more time. The response structure did not change, but what we can see is that the responses are cached. You can also see that the date in the response is older than the one in the container. Now, there is a really cool Docker command which shows the file system changes since the container was started. Let's use it and see what happens. We can see that there are some file system changes, but we are interested only in those from the tmp nginx cache directory. There, a file with a strange name was added. Let's see what's inside. What a surprise! This file contains the cache key string, the HTTP status code, the headers, and the response body. Let's do some more requests. But this time on different paths. See, the cache works for these requests as well. And new cache files have also been added. Let's examine one of them. Whoops, it's the same as previously. Let's grab another one. The same structure but different key and body. That's it. If you want to learn more about Nginx caching, please visit my site. See you there.